On a cool October morning in 2016, internet users across the East Coast of the United States awoke to find the web in chaos. Twitter wouldn't load. Netflix ground to a halt. Major news sites blinked offline without warning. In a cramped New Jersey dorm room, a trio of college friends watched their computer screens with a mix of exhilaration and dread. They had just unleashed a swarm of invisible attackers across the internet. What started as a game in the shadows was now spiraling out of control, and the whole world was about to feel it.
Before moving further, please like the video and subscribe our channel Cyber Nightmares, as this motivates us to bring more such videos to you. Now, let's get back to the video. Flashback to early 2016 at Rutgers University in New Jersey. Paras Jha, a 21-year-old computer science student, spent more time in online worlds than in class. With friends Josiah White and Dalton Norman, he lived in the gray zone where gaming culture, server hustles, and DDoS protection businesses overlapped. Minecraft servers were a battleground. Rivals hired attacks to knock each other offline and steal players. Paras even spun up a small DDoS mitigation outfit, defending one day, probing the next. In those late-night dorm hangouts, a plan took shape. If they could quietly suppress competing Minecraft servers, players would flow to theirs and to clients who paid them. Paras began writing a new weapon and named it Mirai, Japanese for future. Instead of chasing hardened PCs, Mirai hunted the weakest links of a rapidly growing internet: cheap, insecure IoT devices, security cameras, home routers, DVRs, often shipped with factory logins like admin or 12345. Mirai worked like a tireless scout. It scanned the internet for exposed devices, tried common credentials, slipped in, and installed a tiny agent. Each captured gadget became a bot, and together they formed a botnet under remote command. The growth was explosive. Within its first 24 hours, Mirai reportedly compromised over 65,000 devices and kept doubling in under an hour and a half. Cameras in Vietnam, routers in Brazil, baby monitors in California, ordinary gadgets nobody would suspect, quietly joined the swarm. In short order, the trio controlled hundreds of thousands of bots. They tested their power in the shadows, hammering rival Minecraft servers, and in some cases, offering to fix the problem for a fee. The same hands that lit the fire sold the water. For months, Mirai prowled mostly in the gaming underground. Then, in September 2016, its owners pushed the throttle. They targeted a French hosting giant that protected many Minecraft servers. In a blink, roughly 145,000 hijacked devices began blasting it with junk traffic. At the peak, the deluge topped 1.1 terabits per second, staggering for the time, and enough to flatten robust defenses. Security teams stared at graphs that looked like a cliff. The next day brought a personal score. Brian Krebs, a prominent cybersecurity journalist, had exposed DDoS for hire operations. Mirai struck his site with a historic barrage, measured in the high hundreds of gigabits per second. Even professional defenses struggled to absorb it, and his upstream provider ultimately dropped the connection to protect its own network. The message was unmistakable. Whoever controlled this botnet could silence almost anyone online. Rumors swirled. The sheer scale led many to suspect a nation-state. Analysts muttered about foreign intelligence testing internet-killing weapons. Inside law enforcement, jaws dropped at the raw, cheap power of an army of $30 webcams. But the truth was stranger, and far less sophisticated. The command center wasn't a government bunker. It was a cluster of rented servers and dorm room keyboards. Realizing the spotlight was shifting toward them, the creators tried a radical defense. They dumped Mirai's source code online under an alias. The logic was simple and cynical. If everyone had the code, investigators would be swimming in clones and copycats. Mirai would no longer be their tool. It would be everyone's problem. The code release worked too well. Within weeks, new groups spun up their own Mirai botnets. On October 21st, 2016, one of those crews, unrelated to the original trio, aimed an adapted Mirai at Dyn, a major provider of DNS, the Internet's phone book. Knock out DNS, and users can't find websites, even if the sites themselves are fine. That morning, waves of malicious queries from tens of thousands of infected devices slammed Dyn's infrastructure. The effect cascaded. DNS lookups failed, and huge swaths of the web, Twitter, Reddit, Netflix, PayPal, Spotify, Airbnb, and more, blinked out for millions across the U.S., hitting the East Coast hardest. It was one of the largest outages in internet history, caused not by elite 0 days, but by legions of insecure gadgets weaponized with off-the-shelf code. Panic and speculation spread. Was this a geopolitical test? A pre-election strike? A threat to critical infrastructure? As engineers stabilized services and forensic breadcrumbs pointed to Mirai, a more sobering reality set in. A teenage project to win at Minecraft had morphed into a blueprint for crippling the internet's core plumbing. Even the original authors watched in alarm. They hadn't fired this shot, but their creation had. The Dyn outage turned investigation into overdrive. A task force had already been tracking Mirai activity. Now, they had urgency and leverage. Jurisdiction took an odd turn when an agent in Anchorage, Alaska, tied infections there to Mirai's broader footprint, giving his office a legal foothold. From that far-flung hub, the FBI coordinated subpoenas, server seizures, and old-fashioned fieldwork. Agents followed logs across providers, imaged compromised devices, and traced command and control infrastructure through layers of proxies. The trail wasn't perfect, but it was enough. Clues converged: aliases, chat records, payment flows, reused handles, operational slips. By early 2017, suspicions centered on Paris Jha and Josiah White, soon joined by Dalton Norman. When agents arrived, the weight of evidence spoke louder than bluster. The trio cooperated and, in December 2017, pleaded guilty. Court documents revealed a story that felt unreal. The architects of a botnet that rattled global infrastructure were college-age Americans, motivated by gaming rivalry and small business hustle. Another twist: Rutgers University had endured repeated DDoS outages from 2014 onward, registration windows, exam periods, mysterious floods that knocked students offline. Paras admitted orchestrating many of those, allegedly to pressure Rutgers toward his preferred mitigation service. Create the pain, sell the cure. Many expected prison time. But in September 2018, a judge imposed 5 years probation, 2,500 hours of community service, and $127,000 in restitution. The deciding factor was extraordinary cooperation. After arrest, the three helped the FBI identify other operators and disrupt live threats. They pivoted from breaking things to helping fix them, with at least one moving into professional defensive work. Mirai's legacy is a mirror held up to the modern internet. A handful of young programmers nearly broke core services not with elite exploits, but by exploiting laziness at scale. Default passwords, unpatched firmware, rushed devices with no upgrade path. Manufacturers and regulators pledged improvements. Some progress followed, but insecure devices still flood the market faster than they can be secured. Variants of Mirai continue to surface, built from the publicly leaked code and adapted to new hardware and protocols. Copycats have since crippled networks in entire regions and fueled criminal schemes far beyond games. The case also reshaped conversations about youth, talent, and accountability in cybercrime. Turning offenders into allies can pay civic dividends. It can also blur deterrence if it's seen as a safety net. The lesson for would-be script kids is simple. The internet remembers, and investigations eventually catch up. The lesson for the rest of us is more urgent. Security by default matters, even on the humblest device in your home. 3 friends, a late-night idea, and a swarm of neglected gadgets. Mirai showed how fragile our connected world can be. Its story is a warning and a roadmap. Fix the basics, harden the edges, and never underestimate what bored minds and bad defaults can do to a planet built on networks.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Mirai Botnet's rise and rampage, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Cyber Nightmares. Hit the bell icon so you won't miss our next episode, where we'll unravel more gripping tales from the hidden corners of the internet.